Hey, Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome to Let's Play Civilization 6 as Scotland. Now, where we left off, we had probably done a few things that were mistakes. Notably, settling Galashiels here. I actually double-checked the Liberation War CB requirements between this episode and the previous one, and a couple of people pointed out that you can only declare Liberation War for if an ally or a friend city gets captured. I must have misread how the CB works, because I thought it would work on your own cities, but that, obviously that doesn't work, because then it would be a reconquest war. So this was probably a mistake, and I should, just look for peace with Lao Tower in 2 turns, and then just maybe try to hold on to the city and do something interesting with it. Other than that, we're generally making good progress. We're up to about 250 science per turn, which is pretty comparable to the 270, 320 and 300 of my main competitors. I also have some really nice builders in position to chop out the Alchemical Society in preparation for things like golf courses, although I do want to make sure that I move this tile over to Scoon, because I want this to be where Scoon's golf course is. So Dumfries has fully built its campus right now, and I think ideally I would like to go for a commercial hub, although this city is kind of struggling for growth a little bit, so maybe a granary wouldn't be a bad move, but I do feel like if I could get that commercial hub up, getting those extra great merchant points would be a big advantage. Not only that, but I'd also get another trade route out of it. And speaking of trade routes too, I have a couple of spare slots for trade routes, so I'll want to get my hands on a little bit more traders to try and fill that out. Edinburgh can also finally place its commercial hub, which I will throw down over here. And I decided to hard build the coal power plant in here. Torn between doing lumber mills over here. I could have also gone for the Ruhr Valley on that tile, but I didn't think it was like super worth my time because somebody else has already built the Ruhr Valley, and that was kind of, I don't know, it just didn't seem like it was worth it to go for it. Like, I could have gone for it a while ago, but the Ruhr Valley is like a pretty competitive wonder on D&D, especially with so many civs going for science, which is kind of unusual in my games. Usually I don't see this many people pushing hard for a science win. There's the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, which basically doubles the value of most of the great engineers we're going to be getting this game. I haven't actually grabbed any great engineers yet. I think I would like to get James Watt, so I'm tempted to do an industrial zone logistics project in one of my cities, although the only real place to do it is Edinburgh, and I'm only 4 points per turn behind this person, so I feel like I can kind of wait for this coal power plant to finish, and instead over in Montrose I could buy a workshop and a factory and a coal power plant in here just to get that to scooch along that a little bit quicker. I'll need a lot more gold to do that, and that's going to be tough to do while we're in the middle of like a pretty big war. I think I have all the field cannons I need to defend myself, so I can go back to building infrastructure in my capital. Most notably the Chancery and the shipyard are the 2 buildings I want to get online now. Selkirk has its fully built Alchemical Society, and it'll hit 10 population in a few turns. I think I need to get another builder over here to start filling out more of these golf courses, so I'll prioritize that for now. And I think it would be nice to have some farms in and around this inner area, so I will actually harvest this jungle, even if it does hurt the long-term production potential of this city. I think that's worthwhile in order to have really, really good growth tiles, because I'm starting to hit a growth limit in this city, but the city just isn't generating enough food. Right, let's harvest in Dumfries to finish that commercial hub, and then we'll immediately get to work on a market. Nice, we have sanitation, so we have access to the sewer, as well as medics. Let's renew our friendship and alliance with Chandragupta. Ideally, again, another research alliance to be able to pick up the extra science, food, and production from our trade routes with India. Lighthouse finished in Roxburgh. Let's grab a trader in here. I do need some more. Rather than shoot with my field cannon here, I'm going to take the garrison promotion, because that will just make it do so much more damage to these units running through my territory. Let's start stealing gold from the Malian Empire. It'll be 1,000 gold every 8 turns, which is a fantastic amount of gold. It's going to be useful in fueling our empire. I guess I'll just try to settle this city here and hope that it doesn't die. A little bit of a loyalty problem in here, amongst other things. No, this is probably just a sacrificial city and we can forget it exists. Now, we've got vampires heading into my territory again, and these guys are terrifying. They're going to need to be killed as a priority. But the nice thing is I am starting to get garrison promotions, which means I do a lot more damage to these field cannons and can two-shot them using a city and a field cannon now rather than six-shotting them. Harbour completed over in air. I'm going to grab myself a lighthouse for more trade routes. Golf course in Dumfries, and then a golf course in Scone. Get rid of those pins, and we're getting closer and closer to having what we want in terms of infrastructure over here. Let's peace out Lautaro, because that war wasn't strictly necessary. Unfortunately, one of my spies was captured by Congo, which means I'm going to have to try and buy them back off of them. And this is a lot of gold, but it's less gold than I could generate if I had that spy back in my possession. However, I can give away this great work that I don't care too much about without having to give up quite as much gold. And then I just have my spy again and can send him. I'll probably send it to one of Congo's other cities that is slightly less likely to be defended by a spy, so I can just get a little bit of my value back. Lovely. We are now generating power, so we get some era score. The aid request has passed and Christina won. I didn't see any point in really putting any resources in that. I can get rid of this field cannon. Lovely. And then over in Edinburgh, I 100% want to work some industrial zone logistics so I can grab James Watt for myself. Sweden is currently competing for him, but I could generate a ton of great people points over the next 3 turns. But also, just look at the production of this city, and that's without any real amenity bonuses right now. I'm at the 70 production in Edinburgh. Nice, we have access to research labs just a couple of turns after we actually get access to electricity, which means these research labs are going to be massive amounts of science for us. It is going to burn through our coal pretty quick, but I think it's going to be worth it to prioritize getting those research labs up. I'm going to harvest a rainforest over in Dumfries to force the city up to 7 population, as well as to instantly finish the monument, and then begin work on an entertainment complex. I definitely need more amenities. The golf courses are helping, but they aren't like the full solution that I'll need to take care of all my amenity problems. And now that we have chemistry, I think there's something to be said for going back and backfilling technologies, or potentially rushing straight for rocketry. I don't really have the production to do rocketry right now. I don't think any of the other AIs have rocketry just yet. So I think I can spend a bit of time just making my empire a little bit more efficient. Like if I could get Eiffel Tower or even lumber mill production, oil, stuff like that, that would be really, really cool. Let's look at our power map mode, and that's going to be how we decide where we build our research labs. Selkirk is powered, so I'm definitely going to build a research lab in there. Haddington, Montrose, and Stirling and Scone are all powered as well. So I'll get to work on the research lab in my capital. I think Scone has to finish the Alchemical Society first. Dundee doesn't have a campus yet, neither does Montrose. These are kind of my later settled cities. So I'll need to figure out how to get another industrial zone over up towards Roxburgh and Ayr to power these 3 cities, and it's probably going to be Roxburgh that builds it once it hits its next population milestone. Nice, there's our very first +3 theatre square, giving us a bit of era score as well. We're currently at war with a bunch of people, and I think that's because Chandragupta is getting he's getting ganged up on by Congo and Persia, which is good for me because if his cities get captured, I can declare wars of liberation. Let's continue being friends with Christina, and send her open borders and a delegation and all that sort of jazz. We have the theatre square in Dundee. I'm not sure I care too much about the amphitheatre because most of the value of the amphitheatre is in great people generation. That said, it does give me +3 culture, and culture is currently my weakest stat, and there are a lot of really nice things in the end of the culture tree that I would like to get access to earlier, so I do feel like an amphitheater would be a good move here. I also need a builder in this city, so I just can't delay builders. It's just super important. The builder payoff curve is just really, really high. We also found Bologna, and Bologna, I don't know how to say it, is really, really powerful. I think I'm going to prioritize my envoys into there, because if I could get that +1 great person point per type of district, that would be really, really, really powerful. Let's harvest out the entertainment complex in Dumfries, and we will even get the arena in here. I do need to think about how the hell I'm going to power Dumfries as well, actually, because an industrial zone up here is only going to power these 3 cities, and then Dumfries will kind of be left out on its own. I might have to get it basically its own industrial zone down here once it hits 10 population for it to power itself. Right, there's military science. We have military academies now. Probably the only place I'll ever build them is in Selkirk, but it's working on a research lab now, so it's not going to happen for a while. Take out this Muskman, or at least most of his health. And there is a vampire poking into my territory, but he's very low health, so I'm not scared about him at all. Let's head towards advanced ballistics, or maybe I'll grab rocketry and then go for advanced ballistics, just so that we have machine guns to defend ourselves. Although it might even be better to go for flight and pick up biplanes to defend ourselves. Egypt wants open borders. I wonder if they would join our ongoing war without asking for too much. And looks like they wouldn't actually, so I'll take this deal. Damn, we just barely missed out on James Watt. We can grab Gustav Eiffel, who is still pretty damn good. We could instantaneously build a wonder with him. Now, what wonder would I actually go for? Since I'm going for a tall game, it would maybe be the Eiffel Tower, but there aren't really any wonders left that I really want, except maybe the Estadio de Maracanã, which is like one of the last wonders in the game. So I guess I'll take Eiffel and just like have him sit around waiting for that time of the game. I'll park him on top of here, because I guess I'll build the Estadio de Maracanã over here then. So I'll just have him resting on that tile so I know when and where to build him. Because that's like about what, like a 1400, that's like about 1500, maybe somewhere in the region of 2000 production, depending on what cards I have plugged in. Straight for a wonder that already only costs about 1740 production. So he can pretty much instantly build the Estadio for me the second I unlock it, which means I want a little bit more culture. We got our Alchemical Society in Wigtown. Now I'm trying to think what else I would like in here. Probably some sort of housing, so I'll grab some granaries here. But I would like to place down a second district. You have some good holy sites, and a little bit of faith generation probably wouldn't kill me. But I do think entertainment complexes are my best bet. Again, the benefit from positive amenities for my civ is kind of insane. We got Horatio Nelson, which is probably my favorite Great Admiral, because he does something very, very simple. He just instantly builds a lighthouse and shipyard in your city, which can pretty much skyrocket a city's production and food growth. Let's start stealing again from the Congo. It's only 600 every 8 turns, but it's still a pretty good amount. Nice, we stole 1,000 gold from Congo. Let's run that mission again. After we promote this guy with rocket scientist, because we want to be able to stop other people doing their space race projects. Let's get the research lab in Edinburgh. This is the best city to get it. This is an extra 14 science, which will go through our multipliers once we have more amenities as well. We've just been continuously smashing our way through the Congolese army, or the Malian army rather, that they've sent towards me. And they used to have like 1,000 something military strength, and now they're down to like 470. We could even consider, if we get far enough ahead and maybe get some jet bombers, we could run in here and just like murder their entire civilization and like absorb it into us. Although that's probably not really a good way to play tall. Right, I'll grab the granary in Dumfries, and then I'll also grab a builder. I need the city to get to 10 population to actually build its, what you call them? The thing that you build factories in, industrial zone, that's the one. Egypt still has no spare luxuries, neither does Christina. Like, it just seems like a very low amenity game, that nobody has any spare luxuries that I can actually grab off them. Like, maybe Lautaro has some spares? Nope. There's so many luxuries on the map in terms of quantity, but in terms of like quality, the different amounts of them and different types of them, there just really isn't a huge amount of variety. I probably could have grabbed, actually. Yeah, if I'd settled... Well, I guess I couldn't have settled it due to the loyalty, but there were like 3 new luxuries up here in Cullen, which is kind of just a weird city that I've settled. I could also use Gustav Eiffel to build St. Basil's Cathedral here, but this feels like a tourism wonder, and I don't think it's worth my time. I've got a farm triangle over in Edinburgh now, which means the city's going to be able to grow real quick. I'm going to make sure I lock that in. I'm going to let the city emphasize growth right now, because I need the city to get to 15 population so I can get that extra 50% science from the campus buildings. Right, there's flight, which allows us to get tourism from our culture. Tiles improved. We can also build airdromes and biplanes. I am going to want an airdrome and a biplane ideally. We managed to get bronze in the Nobel Peace Prize, which gives us 1 tech boost. And we also get increased... we don't get the increased accumulation of resources, which kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. I'm going to pop a golf course down in Cullen to hopefully give the city enough amenities to hold on to its loyalty. But most importantly, we actually hit a golden age, and we're the only civ that hit a golden age this era. And I think that means we want to take Heartbeat of Steam. Getting the 10% production towards Wonders and the Campus District's Science Adjacency becoming production as well. Considering we already have the Alchemical Society buildings making our Campus Adjacency become gold, now we're getting, it looks like 14 production. So like every one of these +7s, +5, you just double that and turn it into production. And that's how much extra production we're getting across our empire now. This is going to be a really, really good era for me. I just kind of wish I could like piece people out and maybe declare liberation wars against them. I just haven't figured out how to make that work for me. I'm surprised that Mansa Musa won't take peace despite the fact that I've killed basically his entire army that he sent towards me. Let's try to push for 100% production towards buildings inside the campus. I'm going to put just like, I don't know, 8 votes into that. I'll vote for myself for Culture Bomb districts twice. I don't care who gets those. And then I'll also go for the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature. So we managed to snag the culture bombing on our new districts as well as the campus production boost. That means pretty much everywhere in my empire that I'm not either building a campus or building a building in a campus, I'm going to want to do that. So for example, over here in Dumfries, I was building a builder, but the builder can wait because now constructing campuses is just so high value that I should really, really prioritize it everywhere. I've got a massive amount of war weariness in my capital. It's eating up 7 of my amenities. I really need to get peace out of Mansa Musa. But he's the one who's attacking me, so I kind of have to wait till he just burns himself out and decides it's not worth it to keep attacking me. Right, so in Edinburgh, we have completed our research lab. The only thing left to build really is the commercial hub and maybe like an aerodrome. We also have to get our neighborhood up, of course. But I think I'm going to prioritize the commercial hub for the extra trade route. Now we have Urbanization, which gives us access to public transport, which is a card that we want to put in, but I do need to actually build my neighborhoods first. And the nice thing is we could also get a little bit of extra science out of our military academy seaports and stuff like that. I'm not going to plug in public transport just yet, but I will come over to pretty much every single city in my empire and try to place down our neighborhoods preemptively in order to lock in their cheaper price. So now I've got neighborhoods placed in not all my cities, but most of them. A couple of them I actually needed to buy tiles, like over in Ayr. I just need to place just a couple more of these neighborhoods, like in Dundee. And I also need to buy the tile for Montrose. My capital can finally place its neighborhood. It's been waiting a long time to do that. Tech-wise, I think I head towards conservation now for national parks, because I do want to build at least 2 to 3 of those in my empire. And it also gives me 3 envoys, and then we can head towards mass media, ideology, democracy, that sort of pathway. I might even go communism this game for the 10% extra science, as well as the extra production from population. However, democracy might just serve me better with the ability to have better trade routes to your allies. All right, we've got a little bit of a tank problem over in Peebles. Can I upgrade a unit to give me extra combat strength? Not without oil, and I don't have oil. Does anyone have oil that I could maybe buy? India has some spare oil, so I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll talk to you and see if you'll give me a little bit of oil in exchange for a bit of Diplo favor. Just take 2 oil off you. And this is so I can come in here and upgrade this guy, but I do need a little bit more gold. I'll need another 400 gold roughly. So we'll get 270 gold for our 75 Diplo favor off of India, which means next turn I'll be able to upgrade this guy into an infantry, and that'll make my cities much better defended. Alright, upgrade this guy to an infantry. The city combat strength should jump up to 65 now and 63 in some cases. But just more importantly, our cities are going to be just that little bit harder to kill. I could get a +7 industrial zone in Roxburgh for the sake of killing a Petra Hill, and I think that's worth doing. Considering I can build that in 3 turns. It won't quite power Ayr, but that's not the end of the world. It will power Wigtown, and it means I don't have to live with a much worse industrial zone, because Ayr can honestly power itself later in the game. It has the land to do it. Alright, so one of our spy steals came in, which means we'll be able to get ourselves some of the neighborhoods on tiles that we'd planned to purchase them. Bologna is at war with me, but that doesn't matter. I'm still going to put my envoys in there, because they are my #1 priority. They're going to be a little bit easier than Mitla to get control of, and if I can get Bologna on my side, I'll be able to get 15% science across my whole empire. Can I actually peace out Congo? I'm a bit tired of being at war. with so many people. What I could do in my capital is force the city to grow by harvesting this marsh, which will hurt my production in here slightly. But if I just replace these farms, they'll be as good or better. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to force the city to grow by harvesting these so I can get to the 15 population I want to hit in order to maximize the amount of science I'm getting out of the city. I'm currently netting about 87.3 science per turn, and a huge amount of that is coming from the research lab and all those other buildings, but also that 15% modifier that is coming from Pingala. Now, when it comes to our neighborhoods, we have to make a decision about which building we want to build. Do we want to get the food market to allow us to grow a taller city? Or do we want to get the shopping mall for the gold and the amenities? And I think it's really going to be on a city by city basis. For example, Roxborough, it's probably going to hit 15, 16 population on its own. So it doesn't actually need the food market to, hit those kind of population numbers. And I only really care if my cities hit 15 population, because that's where I get the 50% science boost to buildings. So I think in Roxborough, we'll probably go for the shopping mall rather than the food market. Nice. There is the harvest that put my capital up to 15 population, which should mean a significant boost in its science output. Yep, we're up to 91.8 thanks to that 50% boost. If I go look at the buildings, actually, you can see here, the library is netting me 6 science, the research lab is netting me 19 science, and the Alchemical Society is netting me 10. Those are all really, really nice yield numbers in there. Let's use old Lord Nelson to build the lighthouse and shipyard in Haddington, which will give the city a decent amount more growth and production. Right, there's rocketry giving me access to the spaceport, as well as the Earth satellite mission. If I check out science, nobody else has rocketry yet. So I think I should be, technically speaking, I'm ahead in the science victory. However, I don't think I'm going to build my spaceport straight away. I think I'm going to take the time to get my entertainment complex and my neighborhood up in Stirling, and then I'll go for my spaceport. Which means I have a little bit of time between getting satellites and nanotechnology and all that stuff. And I'll probably pick up oil here as well as uranium. Right, we have steel now, which is with +1 production on our lumber mills. Also, I'm pretty sure that Cyrus here had a spare copy of some luxuries, and I'm going to grab them off him. I'll give him my spare luxuries and see if he'll give me a bit of cash on top. This is fantastic, because extra luxuries are a huge deal. That's an extra 8 amenities across my empire. I'm starting to get really, really bad war weariness down to -9 war weariness total. And that's really crippling my ability to take advantage of Scotland's high amenity game. I need to piece out Mansa Musa, but I need to do it like where it's not too expensive. He wants 65 gold per turn and a great work. Can I give him something that he doesn't have? Does giving him coal make it cheaper? 35 gold per turn, that's starting to be manageable. What about a bunch of Diplo favor? I just need to get out of this war because the war weariness is just really bad for me at the moment. You know what? I'm just going to eat the 25 gold per turn because I'm stealing 1,000 gold from him every few turns anyway. And I just really, really want to be at peace. Now that I'm at peace, I'm making 625 science per turn, and the next best AI is making 356. I just got to show you the power of research labs and Geneva. If we look at my capital now, if those war weariness go away over the next few turns, this city could easily shoot up from 120 science per turn to 150. We finally also have zoos unlocked, and I'm going to want to get those online immediately. War weariness has already ticked down massively, so we should start to see much better amenity numbers across my empire, because my capital was just absorbing so many amenities in terms of the luxury resources that were getting funneled towards my capital, and now they're going to be spread out a little bit more evenly. Nice. There's advanced ballistics giving us access to machine guns. We should be much better defended now. Let's grab the Great Admiral, because that'll give us a little bit more science on our ley lines. I'm starting to complete more and more of my neighborhoods, which means it's becoming more and more valuable to plug in that public transport card. So I think I'll plug that in once I finish conservation. And I should also be able to get suzerainty of Bologna then, and generate insane amounts of great people points as well. I think Scone is one of the few cities that I'm going to want the food market in. It's just not really going to get much food from any other sources, so I pretty much have to get the food market in here. I think, though, I'd also like to get an industrial zone in Scone to be able to just pump up its production numbers so we can start doing some late game stuff with it. Right, there's conservation, which means three big things for us. The first one is that we want to change one of our policies, and I think I'm going to plug in public transport. There is something to still be said for Republican legacy, but I kind of feel like public transport is going to be worth more because it's going to start pushing up the food of my cities quite high. You can see here, I'm getting a decent amount of food in here, 3 food from here. Can I find a neighborhood with really good appeal? Over in Edinburgh, you can see here, I'm getting 4 food from the neighborhood plus 2 production from the neighborhood, as well as a bit of gold. So if you think about it, like 4 food, 2 production, that's basically like the inverse of a mine tile, right? Which is 2 food, 4 production. Now that we have conservation, we also want to make a decision to head towards capitalism to be able to pick up shopping malls for those extra amenities. We also have enough envoys to take suzerainty of Bologna, getting us a 15% science boost across our entire empire, jumping us up from 680 science per turn to 770 science per turn. And now I can finally start purchasing my naturalists to get even more amenities. So all in all, that was a really damn good turn for us. One thing I also need to worry about is the flooding of coastal tiles. Now that we're generating a ton of electricity, there's going to be a lot more global warming in the game. So we've already hit the first climate change phase, which means after I get uranium, I'll almost certainly have to switch over and pick up computers for flood barriers. We just got the zoo in Edinburgh, which means I have so many more amenities across my empire. My cities are starting to hit that all-important +3 amenity threshold, which gives them about a 15% boost to all of their yields. I think the conversion rate of the conversion rate of these city projects is about 15% of the production gets turned into Great People points. So this commercial hub investment is worth about, is it 40-ish? Just shy of 40 Great People points. Takes me 3 turns to do it. So that's about 13 per turn. That 13 per turn might be just enough for me to squeak out and steal Helena Rubinstein to get the cosmetics unique luxury that I could also trade the spare copy of to the AI. So I think I'm going to work some commercial hub projects in cities that I have commercial hubs in order to try and just squeak out and steal that great person. I don't have a lot of commercial hubs, but in the 3 cities that I do, it should make a big difference towards getting Helena. All right, nice. Let's place the national park. Kaboom. This gives me a ton of era score as well as +4 amenity in every nearby city. You should be able to see now Wigtown. Oh, I thought its amenities would jump up a little bit more, but I will be able to get another national park here in not too long. I need another maybe 20 turns to get enough faith for another naturalist, and then I should be able to get one more before the end of the game, depending on how much food and production or faith I can generate rather. Nice. There's combined arms giving us access to uranium, and we also stole 900 gold. Now that we have our capital essentially fully built, it's time to work on the spaceport. It's going to take us 27 turns, but we should be able to speed that up by centralizing all of our trade routes into the capital. I'm going to start mass purchasing traders in our capital, and then anytime a trader finishes its route, it's going to go to the capital as well. And then we'll be looking to trade primarily with India using a friendship and an alliance. I think we'll continue to go for a research alliance for that extra science on the trade routes, but this will be a great way for us to generate an insane amount of production in our capital and speed up our spaceport. But I think now that we've begun work on the spaceport and seen just how useful these new neighborhoods are, I think I'm going to call that the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!